Good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to the Roundtable with IUTE Group. IUTE Credit, founded in 2008 and headquartered in Tallinn, is a leading fintech company with focus on Southeast Europe and Estonia. And I'm happy to welcome Tarmo Silt, founder and CEO of IUTE Group, and Arne Assmann, he's from Bankhaus Scheich. Before we dive in, a quick housekeeping note. The conference is being recorded and all participants are in a listen-only mode. If you have questions, please submit them using the chat box and we will address them in the Q&A session after the presentation. And with this, nice to have you with this gentleman, and the stage is yours.
Yeah, Harry, thank you so much for your kind words. Ladies and gentlemen, also very warm welcome from my side. My name is Arne Assmann, as already mentioned, and I'm Director Capital Markets at Bankhaus Scheich. Now, Bankhaus Scheich is hosting this event as part of an international banking syndicate in order to tap the outstanding corporate bond we are going to talk about in a minute. As you've probably seen from the invitation and the slides we are going to present to you now shortly, IUTE can look back on an impressive history, not only in its genuine business of innovative financial products and financial solutions, but it can also look back on a very successful capital market presence. The company has issued since 2019 numerous corporate high-yield bonds, and we are again, as I mentioned, roadshowing today in order to tap the currently outstanding one, which I'm going to show you now in a minute. Now, I hope Now, before I run you guys through this term sheet, please be advised that this presentation and the tap offer does not constitute a public offer. This is done by way of a private placement to institutional investors only. I repeat, this is not a public offer, but it's a private placement, and you can see this also at the bottom of this term sheet, because the minimum subscription amount is going to be at least 100,000 euros and multiples thereof. But certainly the bond that was initially placed last June can be bought over the stock exchange by anyone, because it's been trading there since June 2025 with some good turnover, healthily around par. Now, just to give you some background information about this bond, the issuer is IUTE Credit Finance in Luxembourg. The coupon is a juicy 12%. The remaining maturity is 4.5 years until December 2030. And I believe the beauty of this bond is that it is senior secured. You see here numerous guarantors and pledges that come up with a very healthy security package for the benefit of the bondholders. It is listed in Frankfurt and Tallinn in the regulated market. And we are now intending to tap this by up to 140 million. Now, this sounds like a great number, but please be advised that there is some healthy demand, especially from overseas and other European countries. And the fresh money that is coming in will even optimize the balance sheet and simplify the debt structure of the company, so that this will be even to the improvement of the debt profile. Now, having said that, I would like to pass over to the CEO, founder, and in my mind, the mastermind of this very successful and impressive story, Tarmo. Tarmo, the stage is yours, and yeah. No more words from me. Here you go.
Thank you, Arne. It's been a pleasure to work with you since 2019. And one more time, welcome. And thank you for your time on IUTE. I am a guy from Tallinn. The group that I have built together with my partner, Allar Niinepuu, is today operational in 4 countries. And we are about to add a 5th country in Q1 2027. So we started in Moldova, and we started with lending to private customers who earned stable monthly salary, and lending to private customers with a repayment schedule which lasts more than 2 years on average. So our loan is usually 24 months, 27 months. This lending has been the core business of IUTE since the inception. But over the time, we have added more to it. We have added geographies. So we started in Moldova, and then we moved to Albania, then we moved to Macedonia, then we added to it Bulgaria, our first European Union member, and we are going to add Ukraine to it in 2027. So lending is one part of the business. The second part of the business, which we have added, and now I don't talk about geographies, but I talk about value proposition to our customers, is wallet services. And wallet means that we process customers' money, we process the payments, we let them pay in money in cash, convert it into digital. We also let them take out cash from our own ATM network, and we process different payments. We signed agreement with MasterCard 1 month ago with a purpose of starting to issue cards in our markets by end of this year. So this is all what wallet means. And third value stream, which we have added, is insurance intermediation. And insurance intermediation means that we have signed with master global insurance issuers, such as Allianz or Vienna Insurance Group. And we sell to our individual customers on a country basis the insurance policies, insurance certificates using our app. So the history, again, in a nutshell, is that we started in 1 country, but moved into 4 countries. Today, we make money in 4 countries, are about to add 5th. Then in terms of value proposition to customers, we started as a lender, but then we added also wallet, and we added to it insurance intermediation. In the big picture, wallet and insurance intermediation together make more than 10% of our total revenue. Our revenue back in 2025 was 125 million euros, and the revenue continues increasing. And we have been doing this expansion, this growth, funding it with our own equity, being profitable throughout the years. And actually, I could also say that the funding has been coming from the bond investors, because money which we put into the business, yes, initially it goes into the loan portfolio, but the loan portfolio generates revenue, which we then also spend in creating new interesting products or value propositions to our customers. So one more time, interim conclusion, 4 markets plus 1 to be added, 3 major value streams, loans, but also wallet and insurance intermediation, and building the digital bank in every country where we operate with most used super app. What is super app? Super app means that we want our customers eventually all to become to the digital platform and only use our app with our value proposition. But you could also say that, okay, I mean, every bank has its own app. What's the super in there? And I agree with you. Just the fact that you put your own services to the app doesn't make it super. You are like anybody else, for God's sake. Now, the super comes from the fact that we also integrate the value propositions of our partners into the app. So if we again take a step back to the history and to the timeline, then we started doing shop loans, like for instance, Klarna does. We started doing the shop loans in Moldova, I think back in 2011. Shop loan means that we call it dealer loan in our reports if you dig deeper. Shop loan means that we originate the loan at the shop. We pay the loan amount to the shopkeeper, and the shopkeeper releases the good to the customer. So customer goes to the shop, wants to buy a refrigerator, typical use case, apply for a loan, get the loan, sign the loan, walk out of the shop with refrigerator, and then start making monthly repayments, for instance, 24 monthly repayments to IUTE. That's how it works. But the side effect of having the partner like a shop is that you can integrate not only the payment trails, that we pay to the shop, and then customer later repays to us, and everything has to work, everything has to be reliable. But the side effect is that it creates the know-how how to integrate partners and partner value propositions, and how to make it visible to our customers, so that we can say to the customer on the app that, listen, you had 1,000 euros loan with us, and you have to repay it over the next 12 months. But actually, because we know you and we know your credit score, we can offer you 2,000 euros. And you can spend this 2,000 euros. Let's take a German example. We don't operate in Germany for the sake of clarity, but as an example, we have capability to tell to customer that, listen, you can go to Saturn and get your big coffee machine and dishwasher, and you can borrow from us 2,000 euros for it. And you can spend it in Saturn because they have good price for you. So this is the capability which we have also built. And this is one of the growth drivers of the business. And then I now all link it all to the digital banking. When you go through the IUTE materials, the ones who continue to have interest after this call, you should look at IUTE like developing on two parallel tracks. There are the fincos, the companies who do the refrigerator loans and who do the payments processing and insurance intermediation. And the bond funding is dedicated towards development of fincos. And then there are banks. In two countries, we have a bank already, in Moldova and in Ukraine, which are going to finance themselves with deposits. So we are not raising the bonds. We are not selling the bonds to finance the banks. The banks finance themselves in full with bonds and with the owner's equity, which is limited. I mean, we have made our equity injection into Moldova already 4 years ago, and our equity injection into Ukraine is capped. That is upper limit of 15 million euros. So the bond money goes to finance into the fincos, and that is in a nutshell what IUTE does and what we are aiming. By the way, the name IUTE comes from Latin, and then it went into Italian language and into Romanian language, and Moldova, our first country, we just picked it from the vocabulary. IUTE means fast and spicy. Fast and spicy. So you have to think of a chili pepper or something like this. And that applies on the one hand to our market appearance. It applies to our value proposition as compared to traditional banks. It also, I hope, still applies to our management style, because really, when you build the business from a scratch, you have to, on the one hand, think like becoming a banker or towards the banking standards. But then again, we can avoid a lot of legacies and a lot of is a bullshit the word in English?
Bullshit. Well, it depends on
It can be. I would say the word is bullshit. So it helps to be straight to the point and cut a lot of noise around. But this is the aspiration. That's the meaning and the aspiration in the name. So having said all this, I can also quickly cover the major financial KPIs. So if you look at the group structure today, and starting from the loan portfolios, where the assets are, where the money is the question, then you see that on the left side of the slide, there is the finco part and there is the bank part. And very important, one more time to repeat over, bank part is segregated from the finco part. Banks are not part of this bond tap. They are not receiving any funding from the group. On the other hand, the banks are also not guaranteeing the activities of the fincos. So what we will see is that in Albania, we currently have loan portfolio of more than 100 million euros with a very strong growth potential. We have in Moldova, aside the bank, also big loan portfolio above 80 million euros as of now. Moldova is historically our oldest market. That's where the business started. In Macedonia, we have very strong growth rates, very good profitability, and the loan portfolio by now exceeding 57 million euros. Bulgaria, where we started the business 2019, went through the COVID, it was bad. Went through difficulties in setting up the business and understanding the actual credit profile into which market segment to go. But as of now, we have also got good repayment results in Bulgaria. So Bulgaria is also growing. Currently, portfolio is 15 million euros. And then in the banks, yeah, we have operating profitable bank in Moldova, and we acquired a bank in Ukraine, which we will make operationally active so that it starts acquiring new customers in Q1 2027. So the loan book overall 360 million, out of which 260 is Finco's loans and 100 million is bank loans. Finco loans yield above 30%, bank loans yield between 11 and 12, give or take. Banks finance themselves with deposits. Fincos are financed with bonds, and also Fincos finance themselves with a crowdfunding platform and also with local banks, because we have local banks as partners who are willing to finance the Finco portfolios at a lower interest rate than the Eurobond. What we are doing actually in the markets is digital transformation. I would say that if we started, the digitalization was zero. We brought it into the internal processes. IUTE started we actually learned a lot from Germans and from German car industry. Not the car industry of today, but back in 2008, for us, it was still a very good example because we viewed a loan as a car. So it takes a lot of know-how to produce a car from many, many components, a lot of inputs and final assembly. We looked at a loan the same way. So we took a loan into pieces, what you need to do, individual steps. And then each individual step was structured either as something which is performed by a robot in Tallinn, or if it's manual work, then we give a task to a particular guy to hold the speech within 50 minutes and then get it closed. So that was the task, and you either completed, you did not complete it. If you completed the task, then you could move on with the conveyor belt to the next stage. So that's how we built it. And this digital transformation has now been carried over to overall value proposition, and it is changing our economies, our societies. The first change is that people get used to use the app for the daily finance, for payments, or for instance, to take a loan or to buy insurance. And we are even having difficulties. This is a bit on a joke side, but really we have a significant number of customers who, even if they apply for a loan on the app, and if they get approval on the app, and they could even sign on the app, they still come to branch to sign, maybe to have a talk or to verify something. There is still some low confidence, especially in the middle-aged population or older population, low level of confidence in the digital solutions. So you want to talk to somebody. So we are kind of representing this transformation from fully manual face-to-face offline into the digital. Well, second joke is that in Albania, we launched AI-driven motor traffic insurance. I mean, again, we are agents. We do not insure by ourselves. We do insurance intermediation. But we have the user interface through which we can communicate the offers. And I would say that we launched it a couple of months ago. Now we issue maybe 150, 200 in motor traffic insurances per month. And the major problem is that people don't believe that it is possible. They just do not believe. What is possible is that you take your car, you go to technical inspection, you bring a stamp and paper that technical inspection is done. Now you qualify for traffic insurance, third-party liability. You go to the agent, a kiosk on the street. You have to pay money over the counter. You have to get the paper. Now your car is insured. This is how it works. And over this, no, it is not possible. So it's a bit of joke, but that's the digital transformation, and that is huge potential, because I think everybody, at least on the IUTE side, you have to make your decision. But on IUTE side, we believe that this is going to be the future, and that is huge potential. The second part where we see the potential is that our markets are still underbanked, and just one ratio is the banks' balance sheets combined to the GDP. And of course, as you know, our markets, one more time, Moldova, Albania, Macedonia, Bulgaria, Ukraine, add to it Ukraine, the GDP is relatively low as compared to old Europe. Germany, name any country. GDP is relatively low, but also the bank share from the GDP is very low. We talk about 40, 50, 60% share of GDP, which shows the size of banking sector. And now you compare it to Germany, where actually I don't know what the exact German number is, but it is way above 100%. So that's the potential. We run the group with a management team. We have the group managers, we have the local managers. You could see that there is a mirroring picture in every country. If you go to any of our countries, you could see the same positions that are in the headquarter. But in headquarter, we take care of the technology development, scalable technology platforms. We also take care of the group financing, treasury, liquidity management. We take care of some global deals, data acquisition deals. We have some global partners, the multinational companies, which are actually very helpful for business, such as Meta or Google or Visa or MasterCard. And we also take care of the common vocabulary, process know-how, things like this. So in the group Tallinn, we have today 130 talented people, 130. So it's very technology and data science intense and data-driven business. And then in our countries, we have close to 800 people working as local management teams, and also the local people who take care of the partner relations, customer relations, etc. I would say that this is in a nutshell everything that I wanted to say, and really I will give the floor back to questions, and we can drill in any direction that you want, please.
Many thanks. That was fast and spicy, I would say. So let's start with the Q&A session. And actually, we have received several questions in advance already, but a brief reminder to all participants, you can use the chat box to post your questions. And I will start with the first question regarding the FX risk. The business involves the coverage of numerous foreign markets, and how do you handle and mitigate the inherent FX risk?
Okay, my answer is twofold. Component number one is the APR of the loans, the yield that we charge from customers. Component number two is use of mixed financing, including local financing. So on component number one, we just have to charge APR, which is sufficient. And our aim is to keep the portfolio yields, Finco portfolio yields, above 30% APR. So the price of the loan includes also the currency risk. That's component one. Component two, we also use local financing. So if you would go to slide number, would you, Arne, please help me, on the FX risk exposure, which was
in the appendix, I believe.
No, the last page.
36.
Page 36, yes.
That will shed some more light
Got
in
it?
detail here.
Yeah, that was good, Arne. Let's go back. This one.
Here we go.
So page 36, left side, the total FX exposure that is funded with Eurobonds currently as they stand is 138 million, because the group also has equity financing, and the group also has exposure in Bulgaria, which is euro nominated. So there can't be any FX risk if liabilities and assets are in the same currency. So the total exposure is 138 million. But now you have to ask also yourself what currencies there are. And there is Albanian lek, there is Moldovan lei, and there is Macedonian denar. Macedonian denar is pegged. Currency exchange rate is more or less fixed through the years. Albania has been a strong economy, strong currency, and the only economy which brings volatility to the group is Moldova. And if we now start deducting the open FX position with less volatility or no volatility currencies, then the eventual open FX position that we have, which is really volatile, is worth 35 million euros. So two components, APR first, and then also using local banks, local funding, so as to minimize the euro-nominated FX exposure.
Thank you for this answer. Going to the next market, I would say to Ukraine. IUTE has recently started first operations in Ukraine. What is your long-term vision in regard to that market? And are you not afraid of any disruptions to the business given the military conflict?
Okay, let's start from the last part, the disruption in the business given the military conflict. Ukrainian banking is very functional during the military conflict, extremely functional. This is thanks to the regulator, thanks to the regulatory environment, but also the huge innovation, which is related to keeping the lights on while electricity is off or internet is off, and keeping the transactionability available most of the time. So in that sense, it's extremely resilient market. Now, onto the long-term vision, we have made a bet. It's a conscious bet that Ukraine will be economic powerhouse of Europe after the war. This is our bet. We see there is a big potential. We think that in the group balance sheet, Ukraine can take even up to 50% eventually. But also, while we have made this bet, we have had some guardrails. So the guardrail is our equity exposure to the bank in Ukraine is limited to 15 million euros. With 50 million euros, the bank has to be able to build a balance sheet of at least 80 million euros, 80. And with a balance sheet of 80 million euros, the bank should be able to reach a break even. And we expect to reach break even by end of 2028. So that's one guardrail. And if we fail, then the loss that we are facing is 50 million euros. Perhaps the second important point to mention as regards Ukraine is that the growth is funded with bank's own deposits. So the bank has to be able to be competitive and raise the customer interest and attract its own customers. In that sense, it remains to be seen. But looking at the performance so far and our past experience, I am optimistic. The bet is good bet.
Quite interesting market then. Going on to the next question. In case of a successful tap, the bond in question will have a volume of up to 300 million euro. What are your plans to refinance this rather large amount, that wall at maturity? Your recurring cash flow in 2030 will be sufficient or for a payback, or do you plan to come to the market again with the launch of a new bond?
In IUTE, cash is king. And that means, as answer to this particular question, the cash flows generated by the loan portfolio have to be strong enough to support the repayment in full. So we are not making any bets or expectations that maybe investors want to refinance the bond. I cannot make a bet on this. So cash is king, cash flows have to be strong enough. Now, you ask what is the action plan? The bond is amortizing. And amortizing bond means that we start making the repayments after September 2029, 7.5% of the outstanding principal amount per quarter, which means that the maturity wall or the eventual repayment has to be slightly, let's say 200 million euros, 62% of the outstanding amount, let's say 200 million euros. We have to be strong enough to repay it from the loan portfolio, but to avoid the need to make a contraction of the loan portfolio, we follow our previous practice. Our previous practice has been to go into refinancing exercise approximately 1 year before the maturity arrives. So you may expect refinancing and printing new bond by autumn 2029. And then depending on the reaction of the market, you either see that there is no need to contract the portfolio, or we really go into full collection mode.
Perfect. Speaking about the bond, how do you currently assess the covenant headroom, particularly regarding the interest coverage ratio?
There is headroom. Maybe for your notes, This is not commitment from my side, but you can grill me later because I say it's aspiration on my side. But aspirations are also important part of the trust and follow-up. So aspiration on my side, on our side as IUTE Group, is to reach the interest coverage ratio of 1.65 by end of this year. You ask how? Number one, by increasing the revenue. Number two, by further increasing or improving the operational efficiency, the OPEX to revenue or cost to income ratio. And number three, by further improving the credit quality. Everything a little bit, but every little bit here and there helps. And one more important aspect, which I have told to investors during the roadshow, we have also headroom inside the interest coverage ratio today because our operating expenses as of today include on an annual basis more than 12 million euros of cash layout, which we do not to maintain the business as is, but to create future value proposition. These are investments into data science, into deployment of AI solutions in different business directions, also geographic expansion. So there are costs which we can cut off at a short notice if there is a need, and the leeway or the buffer is at least 12 million euros. Our OPEX will be 12 million euros less than it is today on an annual basis.
Perfect. Cost is also the next topic. Can you give us more color on the main drivers behind the recent improvement in cost of risk and asset quality?
Data science and AI, meaning using more data points. From those data points, developing more predictive models on whether Tarmo is going to default if you give him 1,000 euros, whether Arne is going to default if you give him 2,000 euros at lower APR, whether Tarmo is going to leave IUTE over the next 6 months because he's enough, or whether he can be kept at IUTE with the next loan, whether it's worth to call Arne in the morning or in the evening, and whether it's a phone call or message on the app, and whether it's a message or whether it's an offer on the app, and whether it's a refrigerator or a motorbike or I don't know, dental bill. So I mean there is a lot which is going into the data science. Some of it is failure, but we try a lot, and that is costly, but that also gives us feedback. We see that the needle is moving, inching in the repayment quality, inching also in the after sale conversion success in many other numbers. That was quite a long answer, but data science, AI, and engagement of data science AI people with the business people and technology people.
But actually that's been the correct answer for the next question already. It's covered, but if you want to add something more, how is AI-driven risk modeling impacting the group's asset quality and non-performing loan, the NPL ratio? Anything to add, or?
Well, we can look at the slide again by memory. Was it 30? Just give me a moment. The CPI slide. Really? I go to 25. Yes.
Yeah.
So
25. It should be this one.
Yes, page 25. Is it now my share screen? So on the bottom left, you should see two red rectangles. And this shows the cash flow quality of the loan portfolio. This is our IUTE specific metric. We have used it since our inception, which is the ratio of actual loan repayments by our customers versus the expected repayments, which have been scheduled for a particular period. So on the bottom left, you see the actual repayments of first quarter 2026 versus the expected repayments, which were scheduled into first quarter 2026. And you see that the ratio is 89.3. You also see that a year ago, in Q1 2025, the same ratio was 87.9. So there is improvement of 1.4 percentage points, which in terms of cash flow easily translates into 1 million euros during 1 quarter alone. So that's the improvement of the repayment quality if we take all IUTE portfolio. I mean, that includes fresh loans, old loans, maybe even loans originated 3 years ago, which are still ongoing. And if we now look at the same chart slightly on the right side, where you see red rectangle and 96.9 in the middle of the rectangle, that is a repayment discipline of the most recent customer groups. Most recent meaning last 6 months, and how have the customers who we have paid out the loan during last 6 months, how they have been repaying during first quarter of 2026. And you see the repayment discipline is 96.9, which is better, slightly better than the repayment discipline of the same similar fresh customer group in Q1 2025. Again, I would say even that this repayment discipline is almost too good, because on the other hand, it means that we have declined loans to some people. And this is how we also manage. We constantly have to keep awareness that good repayment discipline can also become too good in terms that we just denied business with many other customers.
That was quite a longer answer, but a solid and good one. Quite good performance figures. This actually brings us to the last question so far. How should investors think about the development of net interest margin over the coming quarters, given the current funding environment?
Well, it's not my business to tell you what you should think. I tell you what I think. I think that we see stabilization of the net interest margin. And why do I see it? Number one, because I do not think that we are going to reduce the yields or the annualized percentage rates of our loan book, both on the Finco side and on the bank side. That is number one. And number two, I also do not see that we are going to pay more for the cost of funding. Either we talk about the bonds or we talk about the local financing, Mintos, or even deposits. So that is how I see the dynamics for year 2026 and possibly 2027. Of course, environment is very, very volatile, but at least 2026, I am fairly confident that we don't see any deterioration in the net interest margin.
Perfectly. Many thanks for the answers. Actually, that's it. We have covered all the questions, and that would bring me to the end of our presentation.
Maybe Harry, can I
Sure.
just add something from my side here on slide number 28? Tamo, correct me if I say something wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, we talked about the debt wall, we talked about the potential repayment and the strong cash flow of the portfolio. You see here the recently announced figures of the company, especially if you see the chart on the high left corner, that the company, even during the COVID years, made some profit and came up with some healthy EBITDA, and currently EBITDA is on record levels as well as the revenue. And as the company moves forward, improves its portfolio and repayment schedule, there is good security besides the security package of the guarantors and pledgers I mentioned in the beginning. There's a good security net for all investors to get their money back at some stage. Just wanted to highlight this again. And all the other figures are way above the covenants of the bond. Capitalization ratio is very healthy and robust. So this is the bedrock of the success of the company and repayment of the bond in the future.
Perfect. And many thanks for this additional explanation and the information. Meanwhile, we didn't receive any kind of further question, but this actually will bring me to the end of the presentation. For any further questions regarding the presentation, the business model and the bond, please get in contact with us or with Anna and IUTE Credit. And for this, thank you all for your insightful question, and a big thank you to you gentlemen for the insight you have provided. We really appreciate your time and the interest in IUTE Group. All participants will receive a brief email with a feedback, and we would greatly appreciate if you could share your feedback with the company and our research team. And thank you once again for joining us today. And for some final remarks, I'll hand over back to you, gentlemen.
I believe we covered everything. We're just very grateful and appreciate your attendance today. As I said, we are roadshowing. We're going to finalize the roadshow today and tomorrow. And we expect to open books in the course of next week by way of an accelerated book building. So books are open and closed pretty soon because we are met with healthy demand. That's what I can tell you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.